Good morning, and I'm going to call the meeting at 9:30 a.m. Members of the public are invited to participate in this meeting of council by attending the meeting in person at the Ilderton Community Centre located at 13168 Ilderton Road in Ilderton, Ontario. Members of the public may also access the meeting, which will be streamed, on our Middlesex YouTube channel or by contacting the municipal clerk to receive a registration link to join the meeting electronically. Now, before we start the formal proceedings, I have an announcement to share. Dan Allery, who is the bylaw enforcement officer at Middlesex Centre, has been recently elected to the board of directors with the Municipal Law Enforcement Officers of Association of Ontario. As one of 5 directors, Dan will work to represent the interests of municipal law enforcement officers throughout the province of Ontario over the next 4 years. So congratulations to Dan. And when you see him, make sure you give him a pat on the back. Now, the municipality of Middlesex Centre recognizes that we are gathering on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Lenape peoples. We acknowledge the enduring presence of First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people on this land and are committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect. Our neighboring First Nation communities, which include which continue to live as sovereign nations, include the Chippewa of the Thames First Nation, Oneida Nation of the Thames, and Munsee Delaware Nation. Now, there are no additions to the meeting agenda, so I can look to members of council. Does anyone have a pecuniary interest to declare? Seeing no hands, then we can move to the minutes of the September 8th meeting. The motion before us is that the council meeting held on September 18th, 2024 be adopted as printed. A mover, please, and seconder, Councillor Shipley and Councillor Cates. Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. We have 2 items. Nope, we have 5 items. Here we are. On the consent agenda, these are items that are listed and received in one motion. The council can request to move any of these for further action. So is there anything anyone wants to speak to or highlight? I'll start with you, Councillor Arts.
Through you, Madam Mayor, the council meetings for next year, I guess I'm okay with it, but I think some point down the road we got to look at the times, like 9:30 in the morning. It'd be better earlier for someone like me, the better. So you've got the whole afternoon to actually get something else done. No, earlier. I said earlier. Did I say later? Yeah, sorry. I was getting to the 4:30 one. That one, I mean the 3:30 for Committee of Adjustments. That one, personally, I would like down the road to think about doing that later too, because it kind of cuts the whole afternoon up, especially for someone that's got a full-time job. It's something we have to consider. That clears that up. I got other ones, but you want me to wait? Okay. The second one's on the Gamoka Railway land use agreement. And along the edge of the property, there's 3 tiers of railway ties, like kind of a wall. Whose responsibility is that? Because it's got a pretty good lean on it. Like it should either be straightened up or tore down. Thank you.
Mike's through the mayor, it would be their responsibility. Anything on the property would be their responsibility. We can take a look at that on our end and just advise them of the issue, just to make sure they're aware of it.
Councillor Shipley, I saw your hand.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Either to Rob or Tiffany, I guess, on the 7.4 budget to actual, we're showing vehicle sales $85,000 down. We haven't sold that many vehicles. Just wondering what the status of that is right now, whether we have more vehicles to sell and equipment, or are we just going to be a little short on that one?
through the chair to Councillor Shipley. I have to confirm exactly how many vehicles are still to be sold. I believe there is at least one still to be sold, but it might just be that the prices that we're receiving are also a little bit down this year too.
Thank you, Rob. Is it anything to do with some of the new equipment coming in, not being in on time? Is that causing some of this problem that we can't sell it till the new equipment shows up?
Yeah, sorry, I was just confirming one item. Sorry, yeah, no, the most of the vehicles for sale would have already been replaced, I believe. I think there was just one that we haven't sold off the lot yet. So, but it will be gone by the end of the year.
Thank you, Rob.
I didn't, nobody else wants, oh, did you have one? No, okay. So everyone's had a chance to ask the questions. The motion before us is that items 7.1 through 7.5 listed under the heading of consent agenda for October 2nd, 2024 be adopted as recommended. And a mover, please, and a seconder, Councillor Burrs and Councillor Cates, all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Moving on to staff reports, the first report today is Stephanie Bergman's Manager of Planning, and she's going to tell us about the Housing Accelerated Fund.
Great, thank you. Thank you through you, Madam Mayor, to the rest of council. I'm just here today to provide an overview of our submission to round 2 of the Housing Accelerator Fund. So you may recall last year with the help of the county, a significant amount of help from the county, we were able to submit an application for the first round of funding. And as you may recall, this is a $4 billion federal fund really intended to accelerate the supply of housing across Canada. And their overall objective is for the construction of at least 100,000 more housing units than would have occurred without the program. So again, with the help of Middlesex County staff, we were able to put forward an application for the second round of funding. As part of the submission, municipalities were required to submit what they're calling a housing action plan. So we were again, this is really intended to drive transformational change. So they had a list of initiatives that were suggested by CMHC, and the municipalities were required to choose at least 7 of those initiatives. And the initiatives were really aimed at reducing barriers to support growth. So again, we worked with the county on our previous submission to build on those initiatives. So we have a list of the initiatives in the report here, and I just want to highlight that the initiatives that were identified really represent commitments for us to, explore these various ways of reducing barriers and supporting growth. So we really tried to choose initiatives that, were already underway, things that we're already doing, things that we're planning to do. So some of these things, again, are already kind of in place or in the process. And then other things, if we were successful, we would explore how to implement some of these other initiatives. So things like some zoning changes, to encourage more flexibility, design and implementation guidelines. So things like additional residential unit implementation guidelines and supports for folks, increasing some internal process efficiencies, enhanced development approval process for certain types of developments. Again, a lot of these things are really things that we're trying to do already. And then the last one here is looking at different types of grant programs to encourage diverse housing types. So if we are successful, the funding the funding is calculated based on the number of units that we calculated in our application that we would be able to achieve with these. And so we would be able to apply the funding, if we're successful, to really a wide range of things. So it can be placed towards infrastructure. We have a list here. So things like the Kamoka wastewater facility expansion. It could also be used for additional planning or engineering staff or support to help the development review process, which I think is also a good option. So I just wanted to kind of present this overview today, and we are required to have a motion of support from council as part of the application. So you'll see that motion there. I'll just note here too, there weren't any financial, you may recall from the original application submission, it really was a significant level of effort that was required, but because of all the work that was put in under the original submission last year, we were able to do that relatively quickly this time around. So I think that's it. I'll just open it up if there are any questions.
Thank you. I see your hand, Councillor Burrs.
Through you, Mayor, to Stephanie. So what was the total dollar amount of our application?
The calculation based on what we submitted was about $8 million.
Just to follow up, what I read in there was we were turned down in the first round, and so they're opening it up to those people that were turned down in the first. So what do they do? Do they just say yes to the 8 million, or do they say, no, we've cut you back to 2 million?
Yeah, through the mayor. Yes, so that is exactly it. They will review our application. They may tweak some numbers here and there. So I'm not entirely clear, but I will add to, it's a bit anecdotally, but the county who had been working with CMHC also noted that because the first round of funding went to a lot of the larger centers, that it's more likelihood that they will be looking more at our size municipalities for this second round. So yeah, just add that.
Thank you.
Councillor Shipley.
To the mayor, Stephanie, actually, you may have answered that question, Stephanie. Did they give any reason why we were unsuccessful in the first round in 223?
Through the mayor, to Councillor Shipley, not exactly. I think if you were to follow the release of the funding that was released through the first round, like you can see, it was clearly targeted towards larger centers. The City of London received funding, a lot of those larger urban centers. So I think that was kind of a more of a directional that they had, but I don't have any specifics. They did indicate we had a strong application the first time around, though.
Oh, go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, through you, Stephanie. What's the timeline on this? Will we have an answer before our budget deliberations this year? So if we've got extra money, we can decide where to put it?
Through the mayor, no, the answer is I'm not clear. They haven't given a solid timeline. So it likely won't occur there. And I think we'll obviously have to have some further discussion about where that money gets put if we are successful.
I think that's it for questions. So I'll look for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Arts and Councillor Burrs, thank you. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Moving on to item number 10. We have two correspondence items. Is there any question on either? Seeing none, we have a motion before us that the Council of Municipality of Middlesex Centre receives the correspondence items 10.1 and 10.2 as information. Councillor Cates and Deputy Mayor Brennan, all in favor? And that is carried. And I'm going to turn the floor to Deputy Mayor Brennan to give us an update on the County Council meeting that was held on September 24th.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It was a lease agreement for the Waterloo Ambulance Station. The county purchased this station in January of 2024. They just renewed a lease agreement for 20 years, starting in January of 2024 through to December 31st, 2043. There's been $3 million in renovations done to this station, and the rental agreement will cover those costs plus more than that. So it starts at $259,000 per year and will escalate to $394,000 by year 20. So that covers all the updates we've done to that and everything else. SCORE was there to give us another update, although we have indicated we're withdrawing from SCORE. I think they were there to try to persuade us to stay with it. We just received information that Oxford County is also withdrawing from SCORE. Planning and development update. We were given Dirk give us a new update on planning and development through what the province has done with their PPS. We have a procurement service update. Three main recommendations are to reach out to the lower municipalities in 2025 to try to establish a centralized procurement service across the county. Adopt consistent government policies within that and develop standardized procedures, tools, and templates. And the county is looking at hiring a new procurement officer. And we also talked about Middlesex County Economic Development Corporation strategy. Thank you.
Are there questions for the deputy? Seeing none, then the motion, oh, wait. We don't need a motion to receive that, sorry. So we're done with everything, but we now have to go into a closed session. So the motion before us is that council for the municipality of Middlesex Center adjourn to closed session at 9:46 a.m. pursuant to section 239(2) of the Municipal Act as amended to discuss the following matters. Under section 239(2)(e), litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality. And that's PPS transition and OPA number 59. Under section 239(c), a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality. This is with respect to proposed disposition, Ward 3. 239 3.1, educational or training sessions. A meeting of council may be closed to the public if the following conditions are both satisfied. The meeting is held for the purpose of educating or training the members. That's the first one. And the second one is at the meeting, no member discusses or otherwise deals with any matter in any way that materially advances the business or decision-making of the council. And this is a provincial policy statement education session. If I could have a mover, please, and a seconder, Councillor Cates and Councillor Shipley. Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. We'll wait till everything is